Hi, this is Congressman Matt Gaetz, and I wanted to give you an important update regarding what's been going on in Washington and what impacts we've seen in the state of Florida regarding the work we've done and the policies that we're working on. First, I want to give an important update regarding the response to Hurricane Michael. I was proud to work with Governor DeSantis and Senator Rubio and Senator Rick Scott to unlock 90% reimbursement from the federal government for the costs that our state and our local governments have in responding to Hurricane Michael. That was only a 75% federal cost share at the beginning of the week, but because President Trump cares so much about Northwest Florida and because we really work together well as a team, he was able to approve additional federal support. Our Department of Emergency Management already says that that could be $500 million in additional federal support to Northwest Florida. Now, what we really need is a disaster supplemental appropriation. Every other named storm that has hit the United States has received one from Congress. And in those cases, the disaster response got its own dignity. It was given an up or down vote for the victims of Hurricane Harvey or Hurricane Florence or Hurricane Irma. But now we have a circumstance with Hurricane Michael response where Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer lashed in elements of their pro-abortion agenda. They tried to limit our tools to be able to respond to the crisis on the border, and then in an unseemly move, they allowed disasters that had occurred in calendar year 2019 to come and potentially take money away from people who suffered disasters in 2018. And so today I voted against the Pelosi-Schumer disaster response legislation as we continue to work with President Trump on what we need to do to make sure that this is appropriately dealt with. Also, the Housing and Urban Development Department was working with our Department of Economic Opportunity in Florida on nearly $500 million in additional housing support. There are a lot of people who were victims of Hurricane Michael who have serious housing challenges, and that nearly $500 million will be out on the streets soon so that we can rebuild and ensure that the people who are living in a temporary condition or temporary shelter are put into a more stable, permanent housing solution. We've also had work on the issue of drug importation that affects the state of Florida. I wanted to talk a little bit about that. Many Floridians know that in Canada, the very same drugs that are so expensive in the United States are far cheaper. And there's a loophole in the system that allows big pharmaceutical companies to gouge American consumers while not doing the same to people in Canada or other countries. Well, we're tired of that. We're tired of those games that drive up healthcare costs for Floridians and all Americans. And so Governor DeSantis and I met with President Trump and the head of his Health and Human Services Department, Secretary Alex Azar, and President Trump directed Secretary Azar to approve a Florida plan compliant with the law to allow us to import inexpensive drugs from Canada. Frankly, I don't think it'll really come to that. I think that once we show that this is going to happen, we're going to see drug prices lower across the board for everyone because there won't be a loophole in the laws that allow drug companies to gouge American consumers. So those are two big things really important to Floridians. Specifically in Northwest Florida, we also had major news regarding our military mission. The Air Force has announced that there will be a new training squadron of F-35As coming to Eglin Air Force Base. 22 aircraft, new aircraft that will be coming to support our training mission. I am incredibly encouraged that decision came directly on the heels of the board of Triumph Gulf Coast overseeing our BP funds to build a Crestview bypass to alleviate the traffic on Highway 85. I would suggest that other than offshore oil drilling, the traffic on Highway 85 poses the greatest risk to our military mission. And because we're working on solutions to alleviate that traffic, we're able to get even more military families into Northwest Florida, increasing our contribution to the fight and really bringing in exactly the kind of folks that we want living in Northwest Florida. Real life patriot heroes. We will be working in the coming weeks on other important issues. The ongoing crisis at the southern border continues to be deeply concerning to me. The President is doing all he can to reform our asylum laws and to deploy emergency funds to build a border security barrier. We have got to support him in that endeavor, and we have got to wake up the Congress and see if Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats have any intention of putting border security legislation together, because our country surely needs it. Thank you so much for checking in, and I look forward to giving more updates in the future.